It was one of the most beautiful things Carl Sagan ever said. And for a man who could so famously find beauty in the universe, that's saying something. In his 1973 book, The Cosmic Connection, Carl Sagan wrote, "All of the rocky and metallic material we stand on, from the iron in our blood, from the calcium in our teeth, the carbon in our genes, were produced billions of years ago in the interior of a giant red star. We are made of star stuff." It's a popular way of viewing the universe that Sagan made even more popular in the original Cosmos theory. But what did he mean? And how much of it was really star stuff? Well, it all goes back to a truism that we talked about before. In addition to providing heat and light, stars are also element factories. The smallest and simplest element is hydrogen. It's the most basic form of stuff Sagan was talking about. Along with much of the helium in the universe, which is 4 hydrogen nuclei fused together, are the result of the Big Bang. But everything in the universe heavier than hydrogen and that H and helium were made by a star. Stars spend much of their life fusing hydrogen into helium. This is the so-called main sequence of a star's development. And it includes stars as diverse as our sun, a so-called yellow dwarf, to our nearest celestial neighbor, Proxima Centauri, a red dwarf. But some stars become massive enough to fuse more than hydrogen. That enormous heat and pressure generated by stars, even a little bigger than our sun, can go on to smash 3 helium nuclei, and this makes carbon. Then add even a little more hydrogen nuclei to make nitrogen and oxygen. On and on and on these reactions go. As stars fuse elements into more heavier elements, all the way up to iron element 26, the sources of carbon, calcium, and oxygen, and all precious other things, are the red giants Sagan was referring to. But it doesn't stop there. We know that because the universe, and you, is full of stuff heavier than iron. In some red giants, during their final death throes, their cores will collapse and heat up even more, generating enough heat to fuse even more iron nuclei, forming elements as heavy as bismuth. Element 83. But the heaviest elements come from something even more fantastic. Supernovas. These elements can only be fused into being. These elements can only be fused into being with energy that comes from the final collapse and explosion of a dying star. Gold, silver, lead, uranium, all these were created by stars that had run out of nuclear fuel. Their enormous masses collapsing in on themselves, and then flinging their remains into the universe as clouds of gas and dust. And these clouds went on to form other stars, other planets, and you. So how much of you is made up of dead stars? Well, you probably heard that most of you is made up of water, which is true. The average human is made up of 53% H2O, and these 2 hydrogen atoms date back to the Big Bang. There are a lot of other compounds in your body, of course. But scientists estimate that mainly there's so much water inside of you that hydrogen is the far most common atom in your body, accounting for 60% of all the 7 billion atoms that make up you. Counting atom by atom, you're about 38% star stuff. Everything that's not hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, calcium, all these products that were manufactured by red giant stars and supernovas billions of years ago. But hydrogen is the smallest, least massive atom. So if you want to measure your body by mass, you're only about 10% hydrogen. By mass, you're 90% star stuff. But no matter how you size it up, all the rest of you, that hydrogen, is 13 billion years old. So you're not all star stuff. But the way I like to think of it, and I think Sagan would agree, that there's no part of you that isn't literally astronomical.